Hi, fourth grade. How are you? I hope you had a nice weekend. So today's Monday, and I wanted to just make a quick little video to explain what your next steps in your kindness story should be. So you all are at different steps and at different points in this writing process. Some of you are finished with your story, some of you are very close, and some of you are still in the beginning, middle stages. You're still trying to figure some things out. So I'm going to explain what this week should look like for you, depending on what step you are on in the process, okay? So I have read everyone's stories for a second time. So I finished that up over the weekend. Mrs. Wisher also helped me read some stories. So if Mrs. Wisher read your story for the second round, then she left you a note at the top of your story instead of me. So if she read your story instead of me, you're good to go. Thank you, Mrs. Wisher, for helping me out with that. So what you're going to do this week. So first, let me start off by saying, those of you who are still writing your story, I want this week for you to work really hard every day to try and get your story finished by the end of this week. Now, I know some of you I have been working really closely with. I've met with some of you on Zoom or through email, and I'm helping you and working with you through your story. So if you are like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Smith, there's no way I'm going to have my story finished by Friday or by the end of the week, that's fine, okay? But I do want you to work really, really hard, spend some good 20 to 30 minutes every day just thinking and writing through your story, okay? Send me a message, send me an email throughout the week to see how you're doing, and I'll check in with those of you also who I've been working with and who still isn't finished. If you do, when you do get your story finished, for those of you who are going to spend this week, finish it up. When you finish your story, please have your parents email me and let me know that you are finished, because I don't pop into every single person's story every single day. It takes me about a week and a half to read through everyone's stories, because there's a lot of you out there and a lot of your stories are very long. So it does take some time. But when you get finished, I don't want you to sit around and wait for me. I want you to go ahead and tell me that you're finished. So have mom or dad or someone at home, or even you can send me an email yourself to let me know that you're finished. That way I know that I need to read through your story. Okay. So if you are finished and I've told you that you're finished, here's what I want you to do. I want you to clean your story up. So that means any comment from me or from Mrs. Wisher or anything that I have done, I want you to delete all those comments, okay? I don't want anything to be in your story that shouldn't be there as a final finished product, okay? If you have not given your story a title yet, that's something that I want you to work on also, okay? Come up with a creative and engaging title for your story. So when a reader sees it, they're going to think, ooh, I want to know what happens in this story. So take a day just to think about your story, the title of your story. I think that some of you have already done that, so you're finished with that. But if you have not done that, I want you to go ahead and think of a title for your story. Some of you have asked if you can illustrate your story and if you can turn it into a book. If you want to do that, you can. However, I'm not going to require that as a step, because I know some of us don't have printers at our house. Paper is kind of is a limited resource in some of our houses. I know printer paper is kind of dwindling down at my house, so it would probably be reserved for only required things. But if you want to turn your book into a story, that's fine. So you can kind of do that however you want to. If you want to print out your story and cut it up to make it into pages, that's fine. If you just want to print it out and turn it into a book your own way, that's fine. But I am not going to require that. If you want to do that, that's fine. The thing that I am going to grade is just your story, how it is in the computer. Okay. I am not going to print out everyone's stories at home. I am just going to look at your story, how it is on Google Docs. Okay. So if you want to print it out, that's fine. And if you print it, it will still be in Google Docs for me to see. But if you want to print it, play around with it, that's completely up to you at home. Some of you have also asked me if you can illustrate your book, your story, and I'm going to leave that up to you as well. If you want to illustrate it, you can illustrate as much or as little as you want. I am not going to require that as part of this writing assignment either. Some of you have asked if you can illustrate, if you can print out your story and then illustrate, make a picture for every page. Yes, that's fine. If you just want to make like a title, a cover picture for your story, that's fine too. Okay. I know a lot of you are very artistic out there. You would love to do that. And you might have a lot of free time to illustrate your story. Go for it. That's fine. Here is what I want those of you to do who are finished with your story. I want you to practice reading your story out loud, just to make sure that it makes sense and that there's not anything that you might have missed in your story or maybe you want to take out, because sometimes when we read things out loud, we hear it a lot differently than how it is in our head when we're typing or when we're writing it out. So go to your room or go to a quiet place or even read it to one of your family members at home, just to make sure that everything sounds okay and it's how you want it to be. If you read something out loud and it doesn't make sense, then go ahead and change it. This is a good way to edit your story and to make it sound really good. And here's also what I want you to do. The reason I want you to practice it, reading it out loud, is because I would love for you to make a video of yourself sharing your story. So you're going to read it from start to finish. Make sure you read it with expression. So if a character is angry or excited or happy, make sure your voice shows that. So when you're practicing reading your story out loud, also practice reading with expression and reading it how your characters would. Don't read your story like this. Ooh, I'm so happy. Thank you. You're so kind. That would be so boring for someone to listen to. But if you have expression in your voice, or if someone's really angry, or I'm so excited, you want to show that in your voice. So everyone who's listening to your story is really engaged and they want to know what's going on in your story and what's happening with your characters. So after you do that, send me that video because I want to watch it too. And I would love to put some of your videos up on my YouTube channel so our classmates can listen to some of our stories that we've been working on so hard. If you send me a story, send me your video, and your parents do not want you to be up on my YouTube channel, that's no big deal. Just put that in the email saying, Mrs. Smith, here's my video of my kindness story, but please don't put it up on your YouTube channel, and I won't do it. But if your parents don't mind, and if you would love to be a part of my YouTube channel, that's fine too. Okay, so it's completely up to you. But if you are finished, I do want you to send me a video of you reading your story to me sometime this week. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of recap so you know what you're supposed to be working on this week with your kindness story. So if you are still working on your story, I want your goal to be to try and get it finished by the end of the week. And if you are like, I'm struggling, I need help, let me know so I can help you this week. Okay. If you are finished with your story, you are going to clean up your story. So get rid of all the comments, make it look nice and neat. You are going to think of a title. If you have not done that yet, you're going to practice reading it out loud. Make sure you practice first. I do not want your video that you send to me to be the first time that you're reading through it. So practice it 2 or 3 times. Okay, I think that should be good. If you want to practice it more, that's fine. 2 or 3 should be good. And then send me that video so I can listen to your wonderful stories and hopefully share some of them with the rest of our 4th graders so they can see all the wonderful stories that everyone came up with. Okay, so if you have a question about something, feel free to comment on this video, or you can send me an email and I will get back to you. Okay, so, and I think in your writing lessons for today, I said that this video was the only thing you had to do, which it is. But if you are still writing your story, take 10-15 minutes today or even more to work on your story a little bit more. Okay. If you would like to work on your story, if you want to practice it, if you feel like you need a little extra work, that's fine too. Especially if you've already sent me your comprehension questions for chapters 5 through 9, I want you to go ahead and work on your step a little bit today. Okay. But this video really is the only thing that I'm requiring you to do for writing today. All right. So good luck. Let me know if you need help, and I can't wait to hear from you. Bye.